Going on, guys? It is this kid and it's Tuesday, so we're going to be doing some kind of like an overview of the patch notes for the day. A lot of changes to PvE and PvP, some balance changes for PvP, a lot of nerfs for PvE, rating and mythic. So yeah, let's just get into it. So we got the first two things here, and I want to make this quick as well, so we'll just kind of hop over some of this stuff. So Artificer, two abilities, Glyph of Destruction and Withering Touch, damage was reduced. Everything up to Mythic. Sun King Salvation, a lot of mobs here, their health was reduced by 10% on everything up to Mythic. Lady Minerva Darkvein, there are a lot of scaling changes. So there's things like Anima Web now does 20% less damage for raids with fewer than 30 players. And it is, most of these changes are for heroic, I would say. But a lot of the stuff is really just if you have a smaller raid, you're going to be taking less damage and overall, more balanced experience. Council of Blood, not really too many changes. There's one just kind of bug fix, really. Now just familiar predicaments will no longer unintentionally reduce the duration of Dancing Fever. That was a Venthyr Soulbind when you chose Nadja. Sludgefist, this is basically just a scaling change. If you have a smaller group size, damage reduced by up to 35%. Stuff like that. Different stuff like that for Sludgefist, just scaling. Stone Legion Generals, same kind of thing. If you have a smaller raid, pretty much everything is going to change. You're going to take less damage, abilities are going to target less people, ton of stuff like that for Stone Legion Generals. For Sire, Crimson Kabbalist health reduced by up to 10%, very small change, but that is also depending on group size. So they're taking a huge look at group size in raids and kind of fixing flex raids a little bit better, which is good. So we got Mythic Dungeons here. The other side, got some nerfs. Mythic Keystone timer increased to 43 minutes, was 41 minutes. I thought it was, reasonably long, but I guess they're increasing it again. Son of Hakar melee damage reduced by 50% for Hakar. Blood Nova damage reduced. For Dealer, Arcane Lightning damage was reduced. So they're really making a lot of changes to DOS. But I'll take the nerfs. Spires of Ascension, Dark Stride duration decreased to 15 seconds, was 20 seconds. Necrotic Wake for Nalthor, Champion's Boon duration increased to 30 seconds, was 15 seconds. Cool. Theater of Pain, Set the Unfallen, health reduced by 10%. And then I had to look at this, the Eternal Palace. So I had to think, is that a new mythic? Am I missing something? And then I remembered, oh no, that's a raid from 2 years ago. Why are we getting patch notes for a raid from 2 years ago? But whatever, it is what it is. Just hopefully they're not spending too much time fixing that stuff, because it should have been done 2 years ago. I don't know. They also increased. I don't know why they're doing this, but there were so many people complaining about how gearing in Mythic is really bad. It's not rewarding, stuff like that. So they said, hey, we're listening. We're gonna give you some anima, and it's gonna help you guys out a ton. Which is ridiculous. That doesn't solve the problem whatsoever. But so now, completing a Mythic at 7 to 9 will now award 2 rare anima items. You get an extra 35 anima. Crazy. Not like you could just do a daily and get the same thing, or way better. But I don't know. This whole thing is kind of a mess. Completing a Mythic Keystone at 10 and higher will now award 3 rare anima items. Same thing, it's just, you know, this is nothing. I don't know why they're even adding this in. It's like spitting in our face. But whatever. The first 8 bosses in Castle Nathria will now drop 3 anima items. Stone Legion Generals and Sire will now drop 5. And this is any difficulty. So that's kind of cool. Love is in the air items are now appropriately leveled. Cool. This stuff doesn't matter. So PvP. These are big changes. They're some of the biggest changes we've seen in a while, really. So Necrotic Strike now absorbs up to 6% of the target's health, was 4%. And that is actually big. That, you know, Necrotic Strike is a huge ability for Unholy Death Knights. On top of that, Virulent Plague and Virulent Eruption are no longer reduced by 10% when engaged in combat with enemy players. I also like that they started to do this thing where instead of just buffing things, they're taking away the reduction when you're in combat with enemy players. And I don't think a lot of people are going to notice that, but it is a very small change. But I like that they're doing that instead of just a hard buff, because that messes up PvP and PvE. But anyway, I'll go into more of the changes. Marksman Hunters, Careful Aim now deals 35% bonus damage when engaged in combat with enemy players, was 20. I don't know if this is a huge change, but I do like that they're getting some more love. They got some huge nerfs at the beginning of the expansion, but now they're getting some stuff back, and it's good to see. Because usually Blizzard just decides to destroy these super overpowered classes right at the beginning of the expansion, and then they're not played the rest of the expansion. So I like that they're giving back a little bit after they take everything away. Beast Mastery Hunters. This is one of the biggest changes, I think. Bestial Wrath's effectiveness is no longer reduced by 20% when engaged in combat with enemy players. So this is part of, you know, your one-shot macro. You plug this in, and you're now doing 20% increased damage, which is insane. So I think hunters are going to be used a lot more. I know, you know, Jungle Cleave is already doing very, very well, but even better now. So Dampened Magic reduces magical damage over time effects by 10%, was 20 for mages. This is good. I know a lot of people were complaining about, you know, you play a dot heavy class, you want to make the game last as long as possible, blah blah blah, that's the playstyle, and you just couldn't kill a mage because with Triune Ward and also Dampened Magic, it was just too strong. So I like that they're taking kind of a second look at this, and even though I play a mage, it's good to see that they're listening to input. For Frost, these are also huge. Glacial Spike is no longer reduced by 20% when engaged in combat with enemy players. Ray of Frost is also no longer reduced by 15% when engaged in combat with enemy players. These are both really good, and like I said before, it's, you know, they were reduced when in combat with enemy players, but they took that away, and hopefully Frost kind of has some of that huge burst that everyone else has, and they'll be useful. Cool. For Fire, Pyrokinesis reduces combustion's cooldown by 3 seconds, was 5 seconds. This is very interesting. I don't think fire mages are, even still with all the nerfs they've gotten recently, I don't think they're kind of out of the equation. I think fire mages are still going to be huge. They're going to be used almost the most out of any DPS class. I saw some graph or something for AWC, and it said mages were used 80%, and not just any mage, fire mages were used 80% of all the games played in AWC. That's crazy. So it's good they're, you know, kind of messing with some of the fire mage stuff. Missweaver Monk. I love the Missweaver Monk in any sort of PvP environment. Chrysalis reduces the Life's Cocoon cooldown by 40 seconds. Was 25 seconds, and you know, it's cool. I don't think it does too much, but mana regeneration increased by 20% when in PvP. Now, on the other hand, Holy Paladin, damage transferred through Ultimate Sacrifice is no longer affected by Blessing of Sacrifice's rank 2 upgrade. Mana regeneration is decreased by 30% when engaged in combat with enemy players. So this is basically going to kind of change the comps you can use both of these healers in. I think Missweaver, you're going to see that a lot more in spell cleaves. You're going to see it a lot more in basically dot class comps. And Holy Paladin, you're going to see it a lot more in basically just things that have a lot of burst. It's gonna be really weird. I don't think they're gonna have huge issues with mana because the games last so quick right now anyway. I don't think there's gonna be huge issues with that. And you also have a lot of opportunities to drink, especially as a Holy Paladin. So I really don't think there's gonna be too many issues, but it's cool to see that they're taking some stuff away for them. I don't like Holy Paladins, but that's just me. But yeah, that is, I mean, that's the patch notes. If you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. But otherwise, subscribe if you want to see more patch note videos. Thank you. You have a good day.